Alright guys, here we are with Modern Warships tutorial 103. Today we're going to start off by talking about torpedo dodging. Let's get into the game where we have one of our volunteers that's going to help us demonstrate this. Alright guys, here we are with the torpedo dodging demonstration. I'm going to show you how to dodge torpedoes. You want to come in at them you want them to come in at you at an angle, and then you want to turn into them at the last minute so they can't turn into you quick enough. Alright, let's start the demonstration now. Grim, you could start firing the torpedoes. He's going to be staggering the torpedoes, so they'll be coming one at a time, and I could give multiple demonstrations. Okay, see, we're at a slight angle, and now we want to turn so the thing misses us. Same thing here. Turn so the thing misses us. Ooh, this I'm at too big of an angle, so I might actually eat this one. Let's see. Yeah, no, I definitely ate that one. It's a good thing you get to see how you could do it wrong. The angle is very important. There we go. Good angle. Good dodge. Good angle. Good dodge. Good angle. Turn in. Ooh, did not dodge that one. That was a fail. Alright, now this is too close, so we're not going to dodge that one. Alright, that's going to be the end of the torpedo dodging. Next, we're going to talk about ASW, also known as anti-submarine warfare. We're going to have Grim help us out with another demonstration. So let's get back into the game. Alright guys, here we are for ASW demonstration. I am in the Kuruma. As I mentioned in the last video, it is the best at taking out enemy subs. So the goal here is I want to get close to the enemy sub for multiple reasons. My torpedoes, let's see, right now I'm too far away. The torpedoes won't even lock on. And on top of that, like, I could choose longer range torpedoes, but the reason you want to get close is because if the sub is using missiles that can be fired from underwater, they have a delay from when they break the surface of the water to when they start going towards the ship. And in that time, they're very vulnerable to your AA. So you want to get in close to them so that they'll be intercepted, even though my AA seems to be able to intercept at long range. Alright, let's start the demonstration now. And I'm going to eat a torp. So first I want to deploy a helicopter because this helicopter has torpedoes. Then I will fire my torpedoes and do what we did in the last demonstration to dodge his torps. Grenade launchers are also able to attack from underneath the water, and they will also be used to destroy his torpedoes. You see how those missiles didn't even get a chance? Now let's show you how it attacks some torpedoes. If you saw that right there, I could take out his torpedoes just by shooting them with my grenade launchers. You kind of got to lead the target like if you were attacking a ship. Now he came up and we're just going to finish him off at this point. So that's how you do ASW. You need to be in a ship that's good with it. You want to get close to them, assuming you have AA, and you want to unload torpedoes, use your grenade launchers to either attack the sub itself or to make its torpedoes useless and engage the torpedoes with your grenade launcher and just fire torpedoes at them. So that is the concept of ASW. Now we're going to move on to our next topic. Equipment. So to buy your equipment in the game, you go to the bottom right button over here. You click on that. This opens up your shop where you can buy your equipment. One thing to note before we get started is when you buy something, let's buy this Griffin. You tap it at the bottom, buy. It will automatically bring you, if you look to the left of the screen, these two tabs, it will bring you to your inventory. So a lot of sometimes people make the mistake is you want to buy 2 Griffins. I just bought that one. It shows me the Griffin, and I could hit the same button that said buy, but now it says sell. So if you're trying to buy multiple of the same equipment or just multiple things at the same time, make sure you click the tab to bring you back up to the shop. Oh, we can't do this in the writing mode. There we are. Alright, so one thing to note about equipment is not all equipment are equal. Some are definitely better than others, and some are just useless. So let's go up to Tier 2 equipment. You have this one right here, the Sea Star. It's really great. It's one I would recommend. But then you have, let's say this one. This one right here, pretty shit. Actually, a great example would be the Sea Star versus the CJ-20. The CJ-20 used to be the best. It got replaced with the Sea Star. And let's see why it makes the CJ-20 obsolete. For the Sea Star, it's 7,000 damage. CJ-20 is 6,200. So less damage. The Sea Star fires at the speed of 252 knots. The CJ fires at 190. So Sea Star is both higher damage, faster. You also have the durability. Sea Star is 10. CJ-20 is 5. So these will last longer against AA. Sea Star is 2 rounds in a burst, means it'll fire 2 missiles every time you hit the fire button. Same with the CJ-20, that's also times 2, or firing 2 missiles. Then let's look at the reload. 9 seconds. The CJ is 8 seconds. So that is the only stat that the CJ actually beats the Sea Star on. Oh, actually, and there's target acquisition time. For the Sea Star, it is 2 seconds. For the CJ-20, it's 1.5 seconds. So half second quicker. Not that big of a difference, but in general, Sea Star is the better missile. So now that we're on missiles, let's talk about how you fire missiles. Obviously, when you're in battle, when you see the lock-on thing, you can hit fire. Yeah, that's all good and dandy. But there are things you have to consider, and that is flares, AA, and aircraft. Why would we talk about aircraft when we talk about missiles? So AA focuses on aircraft first. It prioritizes aerial targets. So if you have a carrier on your team that has planes over the target, your missiles are going to get right through because the AA is focused on the planes and will not try to attempt to fire at your missiles. Another thing to keep in mind is their AA. If it's a ship that has a lot of AA or very weak AA, let's say it's the Shandong, which has the best AA, versus the Kaliodulio, which has no AA. You got to keep that in mind to know how and when to fire your missiles. So let's say you had 2 sets of missiles on a ship with the Sea Star. So each set will shoot 2 missiles. You can fire a total of 4. If you were firing against the Kaliodulio, you would stagger your missiles. You would fire 1 set, and when that is halfway done reloading, you'd fire the next set. This is because the Kalio can flare, and it has no AA. If it flares 1 set, it's getting hit with the next set. But on the other hand, let's say the Shandong, which has high AA, if you only fire 1 set, 2 Sea Stars, it's not going to get through the Shandong's AA. So then you would need to fire all of your missiles. Hit both of them at the same time to fire 4 missiles. That has a chance of getting through the AA. So you have to keep in mind these factors. If the AA is the bigger threat, or the biggest detriment, the flares, or if there's aircraft, in which case you can give them everything. Alright, let's go on to our next point, and that is AA. Every month they change the game and the meta to various degrees, sometimes more, sometimes less. But more times than not, the best AA for that month will change. Currently, for the month of June, it is this, the OSAM. In the past, it has been the Gipka. But the OSAM has held the title for quite some time. So it's generally a pretty good bet. Another good one, depending on the meta, would be the Goalkeeper, or the Goalkeeper. So keep that in mind that the AAs can change every month, and what's good this month might not be good next month. Let's go back to over here. Cannons. We'll go in order from this point on. We already talked about missiles. We're going to talk about cannons and so forth and so on. So for cannons, you'll have a lot of options. You'll see. You'll go from this cannon all the way down to this cannon for tier 2. The best cannon for attacking, for offensive, would be this stealth cannon right here. This is the best for attacking boats and sinking them the quickest. But you have another cannon right here, the Cortic D, that is a multi-role cannon. This can attack ships, not as well as a stealth, but where it does shine is it can attack aircraft. So this doubles as an AA. It won't attack missiles, but it will attack incoming aircraft, and it's very effective at it too. So between these two, depending on what role you're trying to do, these are going to be your best choices for tier 2. Let's go into the next one, autocannons. Mk19, yes, that's the only good one. You have this one and this one. Neither one of them are good. I mean, all three of these suck. Tier 3 is when you get better stuff, but the Mk19 sucks the least. We talked about air defense. Now grenade launchers. Alright, so here it gets interesting. So let's talk about the weird one first. That is right here, the HJJ-12. This one, all the other ones, when you hit the button, it's going to fire everything in its clip all at once. This one, you can every time you hit the button, it's going to fire. If you hold down the button, it's going to fire the whole clip. The first shot is going to be very accurate. The longer you hold down the button, the more inaccurate it's going to be. It's a really great grenade launcher if you know how to use it. It's really great at attacking boats, specifically boats. Because unlike the rest, this one cannot attack subs and it cannot attack torpedoes. But it's really great if you know how to tap fire at it, so you're not firing all your things at once, because then 90% of your shots will miss. Just semi-auto, knock it out. So let's look at your two other options. You'll see that there's this one right here. This is garbage. Don't even look at it. You have the Russian, the RBU 6000, and you have the RUR5 ASROC. Now this part of the tutorial will hold true for tier 2 as well. The American is better at offensive. The Russian is better at defensive. The American is better at offensive because it has much better accuracy and can hit targets at long range. The Russian has a much better reload, so it will be able to take out incoming torpedoes more effectively. If you have multiple torpedoes coming at you from multiple ways, the Russian will be able to defend. The American won't. It'll be able to take out some of the torpedoes, not all of them. So you could pick your poison there, offensive or defensive, depending on your play. Now let's talk about torpedoes. You have, at tier 2, close range and long range options. For the long range, you have the Blue Sharks, which are pretty low damage, but a high reload speed. Then you have the TA-53, which is high damage, long reload. Then you have the Mark 50, same thing as a TA. It's going to be high damage, longer reload. Quicker than the TA, but not as. I prefer the Mark 50, but you could choose your own. Next you have close range torpedoes, which is the BA-111 and the Hughes. As you saw in the ASW, I was using the Hughes. The Hughes fires 3 torpedoes for every slot. The BA-111 fires 2 torpedoes for every slot. The BA has a little more damage, but less range. It is 8,000 with 2 kilometers. The Hughes is 6,000 with 3 kilometers, or 2.7. And remember, this has 1 extra torpedo. So the Hughes is a better option. I would always go with the Hughes if you're going for a close range build. If you plan to be in a ship that's going to be further away, you don't want close range, you want a long range like the Mk19, the TA, or maybe even the Blue Sharks. Let's go into helicopters. So you have a lot of options here. Some are better than others. The only one I would suggest is the Osprey. The Osprey is so good it could be used at Tier 3 as well. What makes Osprey so good is that it can shoot. Well, it's not that it can shoot. It is exceptionally good at taking out aircraft. On a side note, it can also take out incoming missiles and torpedoes. It's not good at either one of those, but it does do it every now and then. So Osprey is hands down the best Tier 2. But keep that in mind, you have the Alligator. The Alligator has depth charges. You'll see down there, they list it as a bomb. This thing can attack submarines. So if you're in a boat that has no ASW capabilities, you might want to consider this because it will give you at least the ability to attack a sub. And then we'll go on to the fighters. For the Tier 2 fighters, the best one's going to be the F-18 Hornet. For the strike fighters, the Tomcat is alright. What makes Tomcat pretty good is it has the ability to have air-to-air missiles, so it can shoot down enemy aircraft. But I'd say the J-15 is better. So we just did some testing on this one, and in one run, so that is you shoot your missiles, your bullseye missiles once, and you do one strafing run with your cannon. The J-15 did 47,000 damage versus the Tomcat did 41,000 damage. Fairly close, but then we did a total damage test to where we ran out of missiles. The Tomcat only did 71,000 damage, but the J-15 did 112,000. So significantly more total damage before it has to go back to the carrier and resupply. Keep in mind the Tomcat can shoot down aircraft, not well, but it can do it. So choose what you want. Something that people might consider, I won't suggest it, is the Harrier. We tested that one too. And in the one salvo, again, that's one set of your missiles and one shot of your cannon, it did 44,000. Great. But then when we did the total test, we fired the next set of missiles. Its total damage is 54,000. So very, very bad. But it can hover in place and stay outside of the enemy's AA. So can the J-15, so can the Tomcat, but they can't hover in place while doing it. They have to keep circling to stay out of the AA. So I would suggest J-15. Tomcat is good too. All the rest of them, they're garbage. Then for Tier 2, you have only one drone, which is on the Queen Elizabeth. The drone is shit. The Queen is shit. So forget about drones. And lastly, let's talk about the upgrades. So you go to the bottom left. You go to Workshop, you hit that. You click on your equipment on the left. You can upgrade them by hitting the plus and hitting the 10 button or the 1 button. It depends how many points you want to throw in it. And, well, let's bring up the marker for this one. Right above those buttons, you'll see a percentage. That's the chance that the upgrade will actually work. Generally, I would not suggest upgrading to the max, but upgrade till it goes red. So, let's show you what that looks like. There. That's about as far as I would suggest you upgrading it. As you see, it's still 2 away from maxed, but that 2 won't do you a lot of good, and it will cost a shit ton of money. So you want to save your money, because you're going to need a lot of it for Tier 3. You will be spending a lot of time at Tier 2, so you could do a few things at max, but generally it's not really worth it, especially at Tier 2. One very important thing to note is your aircraft. When you're upgrading your aircraft, get over there. When you upgrade your aircraft, do not upgrade your speed. You can upgrade your afterburners. There we go. Upgrade your afterburners, so that is your speed, but don't upgrade the actual thing that says speed. The reason you don't want to do that is because if you are in an aircraft that has bombs, if that thing's upgraded, you'll have a harder time dropping the bombs. That affects your speed when you are not in afterburners. And the afterburners are separate from the speed. So having the speed fully upgraded is not going to increase your afterburner speed, but it will increase your trying to be slow speed. So don't upgrade speed, only upgrade afterburners. And that will conclude this tutorial section for 103. See you guys for the next tutorial.